Hi, I'm Ellie C, and today I'm joined by Dr. Murray, our principal here at Medway High School. Hi, Dr. Murray, how are you?
Hi, Ellie. I'm doing great. I'm really excited to be here.
All right, so let's get started. How would you say the students and teachers have been handling COVID guidelines so far in school?
I'm really impressed by our students and our teachers and how they've managed following our COVID guidelines. Our kids and our teachers have done a really great job of following the guidelines that we've set forth to make the school as safe as possible. Everyone's wearing masks every day. That's been working really well. Our students follow the distancing guidelines. They follow the pathways in the hallway. Lunch has been outstanding. I know it's not ideal to have lunch in desks. But our kids have done a really great job of following the guidelines, scanning the QR codes, all in the effort to keep us as safe as possible. So I'm really thrilled with how that's been working out.
What are some of the positives from quarter one, and what are some of the negatives?
So I'd say the number one positive is just having our students back in school with us for as much time as we can possibly have. Seeing our kids daily brings joy to us as the adults. But more importantly for the kids, having some form of normalcy in life, in your lives, having access to your teachers in front of you, having access to seeing some of your friends, even if it's only 2 days a week. I mean, that is the number one positive. That social emotional piece is the best thing that we can have, having our students in school. That's the number one positive to me. Being engaged in learning and having that interaction with teachers is a great positive. And I think our teachers have done a really nice job of modifying how teaching and learning looks in this environment. So though it's not the same and as normal as it's been in the past, we've found ways to make learning as normal as we possibly can. We've found ways to make athletics similar to what it's been in the past. Just last week, I was out with the band out out in the stands and able to see them performing. So we're adaptable. We can modify how we do things. It's not normal. I will never say it's as good as it once was, but there are bright spots to look at.
What happens if the district has to go completely virtual/remote learning this year?
Yeah. So. My hope is that we remain in a good enough place where we're following the guidelines, where we're not forced to be in a situation where we're going fully remote. I think some of our neighboring districts have had to do so because the numbers have gotten too high, and we've been able to identify and trace and have folks participate in testing so that we're able to limit the scope of any transmission, and to this point we've had zero transmission in school. If we were in a position where we needed to close, it would likely be for a short term. So I don't see a scenario where we're going to have out for 2 weeks but then carry on for the rest of the year like we had last year. I think we know a lot more now than we did a year ago, and we know that some of the methods that we're using to mitigate transmission are working, which keep the numbers low. However, if we needed to for a day or two, or even for a week or so, we would transition our current schedule that we're using right now into the remote world. So we'd still have the 4 classes a day. They'd be the 77 minutes that we have, and the Wednesdays would still look the same. So we're set up in a way that if we needed to shift, we could do so with very little interruption. Again, our goal is to get as many in-person days as possible, though.
Are there any plans with dealing with mental health in the school environment during the pandemic?
I'm really glad you asked that. I think we've been working really hard for the first quarter of the school year to get up and running, to check, to put the guidelines in place so that we can be as safe as possible, to have education and make tweaks along the way for what we're seeing for how teaching and learning works. And now we're at a place where we've successfully gotten through 1 quarter, we're about to have report cards come out. And so now we need to figure out, okay, we know how this works. We know that our students are suffering with lots of different mental health needs. our students are home for most of our students are home 3 days a week. Some have parents at home at that time. Many have parents working. Like in my house, both of the parents for my children, my wife and I, we're working. So, I mean, our kids are working on their own. Our students are working on their own, and there's a lot of loneliness and isolation. So we recognize that we need to identify ways that we can build into our day a little more joy, a little more happiness, opportunities for kids to come together in a safe way, off screens, hopefully. So maybe some more. So we haven't had Friday in the foyer like we've had in the past. You know, we tried a Spirit Week earlier in the year that didn't work great, but you know, we're coming towards a holiday break. People love to do holiday ugly sweaters, or the scavenger hunt got some good feedback last week. The coffee house that we've had in years past, we're going to try to do that virtually. So we're going to try to find different ways, and to use H-Block in ways where now that it's solidified and people really look forward to H-Block and they use that well, how do we add things to it where if like a club wants to do something, or if there's a fun activity that we can do with safety and social distance, can we rope that into H-Block? Can we get the counselors into classrooms during H-Block? There's ways that we can do it. I think we're at a place now that it's time to start working on those pieces.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Murray. And we hope to see you again soon.
Great, thank you so much.
I'm Ellie C for Newswatch.